Welcome back, Beans Army, to another episode of the Less is More Sports Podcast, the college offseason podcast, where you could say we're less of the regular season, but more of the offseason. As the college offseason podcast, on today's episode, we're going to talk about some of the best players in college football from last season continuing their football career at the NFL. With the NFL Combine going on, that's what we're going to talk about. Some of the top performances from the top players in college football that we saw a year ago. But what better way to kick this off than talk about a continuative point that we make on this show every year around this time? We just can't get over how much more athletic these players get year in and year out. We say it every year, like I just said. It just seems like the training, the athleticism just improves every year. And now I'll look at what happened this year. And of course, you go across the 40-yard dash time across the board. I mean, it's first all time for DBs, first all time for receivers, first all time for running backs, first all time for linebackers, tight ends, defensive lines, and offensive linemen. I mean, we just can't say enough about just how much more athletic these guys are getting. Ryan, do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, I mean these players are getting way more athletic. Like Kenyon Sadiq is probably the most athletic linebacker we've ever seen, and definitely going into the combine.
Isn't he a
And
tight end?
yeah, I'm sorry, I meant tight end. That's my bad.
Mhm.
And then some of these corners were just super fast. Taylon Green ran like a sub 4.4, which is insane for a quarterback, and he's 6'5", about over 200 pounds. Some of the receivers were just super fast, and the linebackers, Sonny Styles and Arvo Reed, 4.46. Like these players are getting faster and faster, and also more athletic with the vertical jump and the broad jump. But it seems like I'm trying to figure out why they're exactly getting like more athletic, and it could be because they're facing. I don't want to say like older time players didn't do this, but like facing more talent and more elite talent at a younger age to get them started to like they have like these 7-on-7 tournaments and just like any type of football level where it's a higher level than some maybe the older time players didn't deal with that to get them uh developed and ready for like the next level. So these athletes are just getting way better, and eventually this sounds crazy to say, we could be we could see someone run in the 4.43, or sorry, the 3.9s, like in the 40-yard dash. Eventually that could happen. But that's so rare, and uh we're on the trend of doing that, but that's just insane to say.
I mean, I look at how a lot of these colleges are prepping their players as they come out. I mean, more and more players are going towards like the combine style system every offseason to get these players ready for that next level. Not to mention, one thing that players do now that they didn't do as much in the past is that they're hiring these trainers before going into the combine to specifically boost their skills so that they do test well at the combine. But regardless, I mean, just the amount of speed, the athleticism, the size, strength that these players like distribute every year is something we can't say enough. And Ryan, you touched on it, and it's going to lead right into our next segment. Is we're going to talk about how players that played for our teams last year looked at the combine, and you mentioned Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese, two guys that looked like absolute Avengers out there at the combine. So, what were your overall thoughts of some of the Buckeyes' performances at the combine?
I thought we did really well, and some surprised me, like Lorenzo Styles. I didn't know he had that 4.42. It was like 4.29 speed. I didn't know he had that in his bag. He ran an opening kickoff, or he ran a kickoff back, but I didn't know he had that 4.2 speed. Sonny and Arvell kind of stole the show because I mean, Sonny obviously jumped 43.5 inches. He had 11.2 broad jump, and then his 40 was on there was 4.47, but it was officially 4.46, and that's just insane for linebackers. And honestly, like that's can be a negative effect on other players with them running so fast, because if you're like a receiver or a DB that is um running slower than a 4.46, then they're gonna be like, yo, you ran a slower 40 than a linebacker. Like these guys are so fast that it's negatively affecting like other skill players that should be faster than them normally. But yeah, these guys are freak athletes. I think Arvell can play a little bit of both. Um, uh, Teams will have to figure out the way they want to use him. He could be off the edge or like an off-ball linebacker. Um, but Carnell's was 4.5, I think, which I'm not that worried about because like there's receivers like I want to use JSN in the league as an example. He's not the fastest guy, but he knows how to run certain routes to get the certain angles to get DBs off schedule or like off step. So I think Carnell's kind of in the same boat. Like he's a really good route runner. Obviously, if you remember when he ran past Gilbo in the Texas game. I think we all remember that.
Yeah.
I just want to re-say it. I think we all remember that. Um, Les is not budging, uh, but yeah,
I admit it. I remember it. I don't know what else to
do you
say.
remember it?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Do you? I'm,
Um,
I'm just
what am
kidding.
I supposed to say? No? Like, yes. I mean, y'all won
Okay.
14-7. I remember the play where he ran past Jalen Gilbo. I mean, listen, I think Jalen Gilbo, listen, he
I'm
had a
just
good season, but not a great play.
I'm just joking. And he had to come back to the ball because the ball was underthrown. But yeah, I think he's in the same boat where he runs routes the right way where even if he's not the fastest, he can get the DB. If he knows the DB, if he um has like misstepped or is out of position, so that he can use that to his advantage because he's a good route runner. But I'm
I'm
just kidding, Les. Don't worry.
I wasn't worried at all. I think that was a swing and a miss joke right there, but hey, it's all
No,
good.
I definitely hit.
Sure. All right. Anyways, no, but like you mentioned with JSN, I mean, 40-yard dash is definitely a good way to measure some level of speed, but it's not the full category when it comes to measuring speed as well. I mean, JSN being one of the top receivers in the NFL last year, I'm going to mention another guy that's among the top receivers in the NFL, and Puka Nacua. When he was coming out of the NFL Combine, he ran a 4.5 second 40-yard dash, but despite that, I mean, he demonstrated elite speed by reaching 20.06 miles per hour in the Combine's gauntlet drill. So it goes to show that 40-yard dash is more of like a burst speed than like a top more like a top end speed. So there's other ways to measure speed, but no, I mean, yeah, the 40-yard dash, although like Ryan said, it's going to have a negative effect in skill positions that aren't running sub 4.5s because I mean, if you have linebackers running that speed, I mean, if you're a receiver, that's always going to hurt your draft stock. But at the end of the day, dude, like there's other ways. It goes to show there's other ways to measure athleticism, but we're going to keep it on our teams because I have to talk about my Texas Longhorns, of course, as you know. Despite what, yeah, Ryan kind of rolled his eyes at that one. It's all good. Because there's a reason my name is Texas equals Combine U. Texas has had 32 players invited to the Combine over the last 3 years, which ranks third in the nation. Within the last few years, we've seen players like Xavier Worthy break the 40-yard dash record. Matthew Golden had the fastest wide receiver time last year, and Gunnar Helm showed out with a messed up ankle, and so many others. This year, Texas players continue to make some noise. Anthony Hill and Trey Moore both ran in the 4.5s. Manny Muhammad and Michael Taft ran sub 4.5s, and so on. It goes to show why Texas strength and conditioning coach Torrey Beckton is one of, if not the best in the nation. In other words, if you want to perform at the combine and improve your draft stock, go to Texas. That's all I have to say about that. But as for my other team, because Duke was well represented for their standards, they had 4 players invited to the combine. Offensive tackle Brian Parker II, Chandler Rivers, who stole the show, ran a 4.4 flat 40, and of course defensive ends Vincent Anthony and Wesley Williams competed at the combine as well. So both of my teams were pretty well represented. But we're going to move on to the next part of the segment because as Ryan's talked about his Ohio State Buckeyes linebackers, I'm going to talk about my Texas linebackers. Both groups of linebackers had impressive showings at the NFL Combine. So if you're looking at trajectory in the NFL and you look at the linebackers that are coming out of Texas this year and the linebackers that are coming out of Ohio State this year, I'm sure we know what Ryan and I are going to say, but who would you take and why? Ryan, I'll start with you.
Oh, this is an easy answer. I mean, Arvell and Sonny are the two most athletic linebacker groups I've seen in a while, and this is a linebacking group that I've wanted at Ohio State for a while. Like, I wasn't the biggest fan of like I want speed, I want power. that Tommy Eichenberg and Steel Chambers, and they just didn't have that. That was like kind of the group before him. I mean, Cody Simon ha had a little bit of that, but these two were just insane. Arvell could come off the edge and get to the quarterback. Sonny's more of the just traditional linebacker, and his film against Indiana was just insane. He only missed one tackle all year, and so that is just insane. He's very athletic. He has good football skills. And I was gonna say ball skills, but that just sounds weird. So I meant to say football skills. Okay, Les over there. Um,
Hmm.
but
I
yeah,
wasn't even going to say anything until you pointed it out. That was crazy work.
I know. Well, I was just explaining myself.
I think explain in that situation, explaining yourself made it worse.
Well,
If you'd have just said ball skills and let it go, I actually was not going to say anything, believe it or not.
it's a common use term, you know.
It is. No
But
disagreement.
yeah, they both ran 4.46 40. Obviously, I told you about, other results of Sonny's combine, but I expect these guys to absolutely be elite players in the NFL just because of what potential they could have, and especially Sonny. Like, I'm not sure what they're going to do with Arvell yet, with trying to figure out where to put him, but Sonny has a chance to be an elite player, and obviously, I'm going to go Ohio State linebackers because. You know who our linebacking coach is? James Laurinaitis.
Yeah,
And
very good
that's all.
linebacker at Ohio State in his own right. Absolutely.
Yep.
I mean, for this question, I think it depends on which direction you want to go with this for me. Because if you ask me individually, who do I think is going to be the best linebacker out of this crew right here? I'm going to go with Anthony Hill at Texas because he showed over his 3 years that he can do whatever you need him to do at the linebacker position and do it well. He can drop back into coverage. He can cover sideline to sideline. He can even line him up off the edge and rush the passer. He could do everything you want out of a linebacker at a very elite level. I don't know why he's necessarily slipping to the second round in a lot of mock drafts. I think maybe his total season numbers took a hit with the injury, but I digress. But obviously, I think if Ryan is correct when it comes to the collective unit, because if you want to, because I do think as a unit, Ohio State's has more potential, and that's mostly because I have no faith in Trey Moore being a good NFL linebacker. I thought he really disappointed this year. I could give him the benefit of the doubt and say that, Cup first few games in the season, they lined him up at outside linebacker instead of off the edge, his more natural position, but they moved him back to the edge, and he really wasn't much of a factor for Texas this year. So, yeah, as a complete unit, I'll actually go with Ohio State. But if we're going individually, I think Anthony Hill is going to be the best linebacker in this class overall. So,
Yeah, I agree. That's why I was changing my name. Um, yeah, yeah, but
wow.
the whole linebacker group is just one of the more, I'm trying to think of all the linebackers that were in the class, but um and even he's an edge rusher, but you can add like David Bailey as being just like super super athletic. Like, this is one of the more athletic groups we've seen. I mean, you got people that are 6'4", 6'3", 240 just running 4.4s. Like, that's insane, and that should not be allowed. And that should intimidate other position groups in the NFL, especially running backs and tight ends.
I mean, and a player that we haven't even talked about is Texas Tech linebacker, the guy who won the linebacker of
Oh,
the year in college
yeah.
football. I mean, who also ran a 4.57 second yard 40-yard dash. I mean, again, slower than Sonny Styles, Anthony Hill, all of them, but still pretty fast for a linebacker, sub four
Oh,
six.
yeah, he still had a good combine of his own, 100%.
Yeah. So I
Um,
mean, it just goes to show this linebacker class is very elite as far as talent perspective goes.
yeah, and sometimes in this, not to talk about like the actual NFL draft too much, but sometimes like this draft could be one of those where you just like you may need like a certain position, but you could also just take best player available and you'll be fine. Uh,
Hmm.
there's so many best player availables type of players in this draft class. So
Absolutely. But as we talk about some of the positives that have come out of the NFL Combine, we're going to talk about some of the negatives. One of the big narratives going around is that Ruben Bain is taking a hit because apparently he has short arms. So, Ryan, do you think that's a problem or no?
If I'm gonna be honest, I think it is a problem, but I think if there's anyone that can overcome it, it's him because of how good he is. He's so smart as an edge rusher and know how to get the offensive lineman off balance. He knows what he has a plan every time of how he's rushing the quarterback, how he thinks he can get around the offensive lineman or the offensive tackle really to get to the quarterback. So this guy's insanely good. He proved it in the playoffs against every team, most of every team. He didn't have like the strongest game against Ole Miss. I think they did well against him, but every all the other three teams, Ohio State, Texas A&M, and Indiana, he had really good games. Um, but yeah, it's just unfortunate that he has absolute T-Rex arms. I mean, trying against, I was looking at, some of the arm lengths of just like normal offensive linemen. Amarius Mims is like 36, which is just like way longer than his, obviously, 30 and 36. But um, but I think this is a problem for defensive ends because obviously they have to use their hands, and if the offensive tackle's arms are able to get to the defensive end's, you know, body before the defensive end's arms can get to the offensive tackle, that can be a problem with, trying to get around. So, but if there's a guy to resolve that problem and take that problem out, it's Ruben Bain, 100%.
All I'm going to say about that is, listen, I remember when Joe Burrow had short hands at the combine, and that clearly has not affected his NFL career in the slightest. I mean, there's been injuries and failed offensive line protection and all that stuff that's maybe derailed his career a little bit. But as far as his own performance when he's healthy, his short hands are not an issue at all. And Ruben Bain was the most disruptive defensive player during the college football playoff, and in my opinion, was the best player in that national title game. So that means more to me than any short arms at the combine. So I still think Ruben Bain is going to be the best player in this class. That's my personal opinion. I
Yeah,
don't care if he has little arms.
yeah, I mean, I'm not disagreeing at all, but I think they said something about Jamar Chase how he couldn't catch like an NFL sized ball, which is just hilarious. I think it was because of preseason or something.
No, preseason, because apparently the ball has apparently the NFL ball that they use has like has different like laces or whatever. So he said when he was trying to track it in the air, it looked like spin rotation looked different than it did coming out of, when it was in college. But clearly he adjusted, and he's again
Yeah.
he's one of the top receivers in the league. So I mean, yeah, take all this with a grain of salt is all I have to say.
Yeah, and this is gonna happen every year. Like some people are trying to like tear down Caleb Downs and saying he's not that good. Like it's gonna happen with Jeremiah Smith next year, and we know how good he is. So, and like some other players in college football, like it's going to um it's it's gonna they're trying to tear him down before the NFL draft, and they'll just keep proving that they're a really good player no matter who it is.
No, I mean, yeah, we'll get to that probably more at the end. But before we get to that, we're probably going to reach the last couple segments we have for the NFL Combine. We're going to have one winner and one loser apiece. Ryan, outside of the players that we've already talked about, who, if you had to pick one player to shout out as your winner of the Combine, who would it be?
Well, I hope we didn't pick the same player. I kind of went with the guy that definitely got recognition, but not the most. I'm just gonna go wide receiver from Cincinnati, Jeff Caldwell. He is 6'5", 216. He ran a 4.31 40-yard dash. He didn't have like the most college stats or anything. He could have potential with, this athleticism to be a good receiver. He only finished like his senior or his last year at Cincinnati with like 400 yards, but he ran a 4.31 40-yard dash, 42-inch vertical and 11.2 broad jump at 6'5", 216. And guess what? He's a local kid. He's from Louisville, Kentucky. So that is super cool to see, but he absolutely balled out and raised his, draft stock depending on wherever he was going to go, just as a super outstanding athletic receiver. So Jeff Caldwell from Cincinnati.
I also went with a receiver, but I went with a different one in Mississippi State wide receiver Brennan Thompson, former Texas guy. And listen, we knew this kid could fly. Bro's track speed was a big reason why he was recruited to the 40 acres. But I mean, he absolutely tore it up at the combine with a 4.26 in the 40-yard dash and a 1.54 10-yard split. I mean, this is game breaker speed right here. And if he gets drafted to the right team that can utilize his abilities to get out in space, he could break a game wide open for whatever franchise he chooses. So shout out to Brennan Thompson, former Texas Longhorn, current, and I guess former now Mississippi State Bulldog. But now we got to the winners. Now we got to get to the losers. Ryan, who is your loser?
Um, One of my lose, I went another receiver. I went Denzel Boston. He didn't test in a good amount of it, but some reports were saying he was clunky. You, I, I mean, you take that as you want. I'm not sure what that means. Has anyone ever told you were clunky, Les?
Yes. When I
Really?
was younger, because I grew so much faster than my body was ready for, I was, clunky's kind of like clumsy. And it's another way of saying that.
But yeah, on his film, it wasn't like it it wasn't the most you know, like crazy film as a receiver and like n not speed or athleticism. I mean, he has a little bit of that, but nothing off the charts. He was doing the gauntlet drill, dropped a couple balls. That's you take that as you will, but yeah, it just didn't look great in anything. Highly touted receiver in the draft. He's supposed to go potentially first round. But he just didn't really impress and didn't show the scouts maybe what they wanted to see from Denzel Boston.
So we actually have a different position here. I went with the defensive tackle, and one of the reasons I feel like he's a loser in this regard is because he was one of the big time anchors on one of the best front sevens in college football this year. And I went with Lee Hunter, the defensive tackle out of Texas Tech. I mean, just explosiveness was very underwhelming at the combine. He included a 21.5-inch vertical and 8.4 broad jump, very below average for this, even for his position. And this is why I really ultimately went with him because it reminded me of a conversation a couple years ago during the NFL Combine concerning two Texas players. And one of the big highlights of Lee Hunter is that he's strong against the run on tape, but a lack of backfield burst limits his disruptive projection. And this reminded me a lot of why, despite the fact that T'Vondre Sweat won the Outland Award, Byron Murphy was considered the higher draft prospect by the NFL draft. We're talking about two Texas defensive tackles. It goes to show just the style difference of the college collegiate versus the NFL game because when you have a guy that can shut down the run, like a Lee Hunter or a T'Vondre Sweat, they can dominate the college level. But the NFL defensive tackles, and I think people like Aaron Donald have really evolved this position to this regard, is like you have to show potential of being able to rush the passer as a defensive tackle. And I think that's why Hunter's draft stock is taking a hit right now. And that's why, again, all relative, that's why Byron Murphy ultimately was drafted number 12 to the Seattle Seahawks and now is a Super Bowl champ. Shout out to him. And T'Vondre Sweat fell to the second, third round. I'm blanking on it. But now he's traded from the Titans, which, I can actually officially cheer for him again. So that's great.
You don't like the Titans?
I'm a Colts fan. Why would I like the Titans?
I mean, do you like the Jaguars? Do you like the Texans?
No, I don't like any team in the AFC South
Mm,
except the Colts.
yeah, you like the Colts. Yeah, now he's on the Jets, so he gets a fresh new start.
Fresh start on a terrible team.
Yeah.
But hey, for what it's worth, I can cheer for him again.
I guess so.
We just need the Titans to trade Gunnar Helm and I'll be set.
Yeah, I don't think well, I'm a Browns fan, so that's just like a AFC South to me is just like something I don't care about. But I do care about every team in the NFL, but especially the Cleveland Browns. We're terrible.
Well,
I
y'all
got
just
nothing to look forward to this season.
you don't have anything to look forward to any season. What are you talking about?
We made the playoffs in like 2022.
Ooh,
Yeah, it was not that far away.
ooh.
Colts just have a curse.
They are the curse, the Andrew Luck curse,
Yeah, but
and we deserve it. I'm not even gonna lie. The way we booed Andrew Luck for doing what was best for his life. I mean, come on, guys. What are we doing?
yeah, they just didn't understand that at that time. the fans did, but
They don't understand at any time. It doesn't matter. Listen, I love the Colts, but I do not love Colts fans. I'll be the first to say that.
you like Texas fans?
I mean, better than Colts fans, yeah.
Mm,
That was an interesting answer.
mm. But yeah, just to
I like
recap.
Texas fans better than Ohio State fans. You and your dad are like the lone exception.
Well, yeah, you shouldn't like Ohio State fans.
See, that's not a
I
one-sided
don't I don't know if
conversation.
I say we like in that sentence because some are just absolutely insane.
I mean,
I think you cover them all.
we can just literally go down the comments of some of my videos. I can prove that.
Yeah.
Or I should
Some
say our videos.
yeah. But some are just over the line and especially when we lose, you know. But just to recap, my one winner is Jeff Caldwell. My one loser is wide receiver from Washington, Denzel Boston.
I guess I'll repeat my winner and loser. My winner is Brennan Thompson, wide receiver out of Mississippi State. My loser is Lee Hunter, defensive tackle out of Texas Tech. That
Yeah.
officially wraps up the segments that we have planned. We have the rest of the show to talk about whatever the hell we want. So I'll go ahead and get this out of the way. As always, like and subscribe to the Less is More Sports YouTube and Spotify channel to get the latest updates we have on content coming out. Be sure to follow the social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Threads. That's at Less is More Sports. It's going to be rough sledding for your Browns next year, especially after the trade the Ravens just made.
I know. Well, you know who that really affects is Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has to go against TJ Watt, Max Crosby, and Myles Garrett. That sounds awful. And he
Yeah,
doesn't have an O line.
I know. Poor guy.
Yeah.
Such a good quarterback, but this reminds me of that meme that James Franco where he's like he's standing on the pirate ship just going first time. Because the Colts fans, that's how we feel looking at the Bengals right now. Because we know what it's like to destroy to derail a quarterback, a very talented quarterback's career with a poor offensive line.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they should have got rid of T. Higgins before signing him. Got like some O lineman. Never know. It's currently
I'm
ranked.
not an NFL GM, so
No, I'm not either. But so anyone watching this, who do you think wins in a basketball game, me or Les? Because I was playing last night, and I've been playing recently at at school, just in the rec gym. But I was playing at Romeo last night, and so I'm ready for this summer, ready for a challenge.
you're playing what by yourself?
No, I was playing, f fives just against random people and some friends, but I'm definitely ready for this, week challenge. So
The funny part is I haven't played in months, and I still am very confident I could beat you.
I don't think so. I think you saw my dad shoot and you were like a little bit intimidated. Usually the sons can be better than dads when playing basketball, so you should be.
I hope for your sake you are better than your dad, is all I'm gonna say.
Did he have a bad shooting day or did he play well?
No. That's all I'm gonna say. Did not shoot the ball well. We didn't play, we just
He's gonna
shot around
text
at
you.
work.
He's gonna text you as soon as he listens to this, and we're gonna have to, it should be filmed on Less is More Sports
That's
Facebook
fine. That's fine.
or
I just
Matt
don't
can.
want you to cry when you lose.
I just don't have confidence I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna be like Seth Trimble and just shoot game-winning shots.
I think you're gonna end up I
I
think you're
won't.
gonna end up more like Caleb Wilson and break something.
I don't think so. I think you're older than me. I think you're more likely to break some.
That's actually probably true.
Yeah.
I'm probably okay. The odds are in my favor to break something. I mean, the last time I was consistently playing, I did snap my finger in half, so there's that.
Hmm.
I mean, well, no, I just dislocated, but I mean, I kind of exaggerated that. Picture's gnarly, but
How did how did you do that?
me and my teammate were going for a loose ball, and we both hit the ball at the same time. And when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object, something eventually gives out. So my finger just
Yeah, that's
I literally looked down and my finger and this finger was like that way. It was like, oh, sh and I couldn't move it. Like I was so much in shock that somebody had to actually drive me to the ER.
now. Did you keep playing or did you
No,
quit?
I didn't keep playing. What the hell?
Yeah, I was just want to see
I couldn't move my finger.
mentally tough you were. Was it your shooting hand?
No, it wasn't my shooting hand.
Oh, you were fine. I'm just kidding.
I mean, you're talking. I mean, that I'll be honest though. Um, when I when it got fixed at the ER, me and my buddy were joking. Was like, "Oh, he's just dislocated. It's not broken. He's hooping Friday," because that was the plan was for me that week because I was off work, so I was going to be able to get a couple hoop sessions in. And I was like, 18-year-old Les would play. 32-year-old Les was like, he's got to go back to work the next week. He shouldn't risk it.
Yeah, it's understandable.
Yeah. It's different. It's different when you actually have to pay bills.
That is true, and you like probably need to work, like got to work to pay the bills. But basketball is still fun.
Yeah, basketball's life. It was my life for a long time.
You get a lot of or a group of people that can go hoop with you.
I would usually go up to when I was the last time I was hooping regularly, I was going up to Southeast and it was some surprisingly it was some very good competition up there. I mean, some guys that played collegiate ball, some guys that played high school ball, guys that have been playing for years, guys of all age groups were there anywhere from 18 to like some guys were even in their 60s and don't let that fool you. They're still pretty good.
They're Mr. like, technician, Mr. Fundamentals.
Oh, 100%.
Passes, just running the offense.
No, 100%. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Now work's been crazy, so I haven't been able to hoop as much as I would like to, but I still am very confident that I will dog walk you. I'll put you on a leash.
He thinks I'm like a non-athletic, yeah, a NARP, non-athletic regular person.
That's actually not it at all.
He thinks
I
so.
actually think you're probably more athletic than me right now. Um, I'm just more fundamentally sound.
Oh yeah, I'm more disciplined. All right.
Sure.
Yeah, I think like here's a topic. Okay, you can't pick John Shire. Name one college basketball coach you would want to play for right now.
And I can't pick Shire.
Yeah, because that'd just be biased.
I mean, fair. It's a good question because there's a lot of coaches I feel like would
Yeah.
do.
I mean, you can either pick, players coach, or you can still pick like an old time coach that still does old time things and runs his team that way.
Hmm. I'll tell you who I wouldn't want to play for is Danny Hurley. The dude's a head case.
You'd be running a lot because that's what I've heard.
I don't mind that part. It's just how unstable he is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind like the running part. Like that. I mean, his teams are well conditioned because of that. I mean, that's not an issue. It's just the unstableness of his personality. It would be hard to like. It would be hard to want to play for him, I
You can
guess.
also just add Mick Cronin in that.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't want to play for him either.
Who
Um, who kind of caught me off guard with that question. There's a lot of guys I could go with.
While you're thinking, I can give my.
Oh,
Or go
just
ahead.
because I want to shout him out because of the job he's doing at Miami, Jay Lucas would be a phenomenal coach to play for.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, you'd obviously have to go depending on like where your ceiling is as a player. I mean, you got to throw John Calipari in there just because of his reputation for player development.
Yeah.
But and of course, because he's a fan favorite on this show, despite the fact that they underachieved this year by our standards, Will Wade.
Yeah, but he's been kind of going insane, so maybe he's not a fan favorite anymore. Maybe Matt will defend him, but
I wonder who Matt would play for. Maybe
he,
Travis Steele or Josh Shirts
yeah, it
or
could
Bennett
be
Shirt. Or sorry, Bennett Shirts.
he'd probably pick a mid-major coach that, you know, is not really seen by some of the college basketball fans. But I'm gonna still go with Ricky P. I'm gonna still go with Rick Pitino.
That'd be a
Like
good one to play for, yeah.
that dude can still coach. Like he, I mean, he's won some games this year where he's just out coaching the other team. I mean, he beat UConn in one of the games this year.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so I still love, even that he probably prefers Kentucky over Louisville. I'm still going Ricky P. We all still love him, and that dude can still coach, even though he can be, an insane. older man, but
The only reason I didn't pick Rick Pitino is just because I know, like, even at my best, I know where my skills are on the basketball court, and pressing for 40 minutes is not one of them. So that's just a coming to Jesus moment with me.
yeah.
Um,
And this is if we had D1 level type of.
yeah, if you take the best parts of our game and magnified them to a D1 level, like who would be a better fit? And I still think, like I said, if I can't pick John Shire, I would pick Jay Lucas probably.
Yeah, I think if we were on the same team, you'd be really good at like handing me my water and giving me my pass.
Get the fuck out
Um,
of here. You would
but
never see, if we were playing the same position, you would never see the court.
I just don't think we'd play in college at the same time. I think you,
Well, gee, what gave you that idea? The fact that we're 14 years apart?
yeah, are we? Ooh,
You're what, 18?
19.
Oh, 13 years. Sorry.
Yeah.
You have a whole teenager born in between us.
You know, I mean, it seems like Chad Baker Mazar is like he'd play with both of us.
He could.
He
Well, not
would.
anymore because he's not on USC anymore.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I didn't.
Do we even know like why he got kicked off the team?
I didn't read anything that told me. I mean, I'm not the most surprised. I'm not gonna lie, but just to
I
keep
mean,
it.
I made the joke in the group chat, and I think it's becoming more and more true, though, is that they straight up Suleiman that guy. If you all don't remember, Rashid Suleiman was a former five-star shooting guard that was playing for Duke, that played for Duke for 3 years, and then about halfway through his junior year was kicked off the team. The first player in the Mike Krzyzewski era to get kicked off the team. And although there's a bunch of theories as to why that is, there isn't a definitive reported answer as to why he was kicked off the team. Um, there was rumors of course, an SA allegation, which he has denied and hasn't, and thankfully nobody's been found guilty, or hopefully there's no victims and real victims involved there. That's just nothing. That's nothing to play around with. That's something you do have to take seriously. Um, but also there were rumors that he didn't live up to the Duke standard, either academically or playing as hard in practice and attitude wise during practice. There was rumors of that. But there's not a definitive answer that has been reported to the public as to why he was kicked off the team, I guess is where I'm going with that. But yeah, Chad Baker Mazar, it's looking like it's more along that type of situation that the only people that are going to know are the people that were involved.
Yeah, and I just haven't heard many good things about Chad Baker Bizarre, and especially whenever he was looking for a new team, I just didn't really want him because he was kind of a head case, um, but hoping that for like a player's sake, hoping it wasn't too bad whatever he did, but you know.
Well, one thing I can say about the difference between USC kicking Chad Baker Mazara off the team and Duke kicking Rashid Suleiman off the team is Duke went on to win a championship. I don't think we're going to see USC win a championship this year.